Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita Rocker, speaker, author, and trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks, and I just want to welcome you here today. What I've been doing, which it can be very life transforming, is have a program from my book, Creating Your Own Destiny, Power Steps for Mind-Body Renewal. And I'm working from the actual workbook that goes with this book so that you can actually use it and be able to change your thoughts and basically change your life. I have been spending a lot of time, not so much on TV itself, but in learning a lot more about our minds and what we focus on and what we're bringing about, especially if life has been rough like mine has. And it's like, why is not anything changing, or why aren't things changing quickly enough? And so it's been a really good time of learning for me, and I'd like to share a lot of things from my book, again, about creating your own destiny. And so last time I talked a little bit about chapter 3, and I'm just going to do a little bit review on a few things from that chapter first. And that's behind the mask. You are amazing under there. And that's so true, because why do we have masks? Sometimes we have masks because we feel safer not letting people see who we may think we really are, or we're hiding a look of defeat. I've known people who would really embellish a lot of things that they did that weren't even true because they didn't want people to know who the real person was. And so think about that, sadness, fear, maybe how we are currently in our life, and we don't want people to really know what's going on currently in our lives. And most people don't need to know anyway. But we think about that. But as I mentioned before, when we think of DNA, that's our body's blueprint. But I like to refer to DNA as God's divine nature and attributes, because that's everything. That's who we are. That's how we are really truly built. And so I think about that, the power, the strength, the beauty, all that you have, that character that resides within you. And it just basically takes focusing on that to realize, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm not a piece of junk. I'm not, what people maybe said, a parent or teacher, someone. I have his divine nature and attributes. I'm made in his image, and that's pretty cool, and that's pretty powerful. And so the one who has the most power, of course, to change their lives are the ones in the mirror. The one you see in the mirror is the one who has the power to truly change your life. So think about that. And one of the paragraphs that I put in here, I'll kind of focus on a little bit more and then talk about it, is what we focus on, we become. And I'm learning even more about that in what we're focusing on. And oh gosh, I feel like a failure. Oh, I feel like, I blew it with that interview. I'm not going to get the job. I really wanted a relationship with this person, but golly, I might have said something that turned him or her off. And so, that one went goodbye. Well, maybe it wasn't the right one in the first place. And so you might have been protected from going further than that. So sometimes people become hardened, and we see somebody who seems very hardened and very tough. If you knew what was going on underneath that person, why do we become hardened? Usually it's because we don't want to be vulnerable. We've been hurt so much. It's like, no, I don't have to associate with people. I'm just going to be a hard character, because if I open myself up and let people see what's really down inside of me, I don't want them to see that. So I'm just going to stay hard, and I'm going to stay strong. And a lot of times, if we can sort of look at that person and look in their eyes, I look in people's eyes when I'm really wondering what's going on a lot of times, because sometimes if someone seems very hardened, you can actually see pain in their eyes, you can see fear in their eyes, and that's why they're doing that. And then we can kind of try to reach in there and encourage them. Because a lot of people, I've heard so many testimonies of people even found on the street all drugged up, and know some people that are powerful in ministry now, but they were that way, but their lives turned around. So a lot of times when somebody's very hardened, it's just because they're afraid to let people see what's in there, what has happened to them, who they really are inside. And so a lot of times we can help reach in there. We really can a lot of times help reach into someone's heart and help them and, give them some kind words, do things that are kind to them to help lift them back up. Okay, another thing is allowing ourselves to accept the treatment we don't deserve. I know I've talked a lot about that, but it's something to think about again. What kind of treatment am I accepting from people? I've had to deal with a longtime friend just recently on that and was like, you know what? No more. And had to cut that friendship off. That's okay, because we want to go forward. Maybe be with partners who are detrimental to us because we feel like, well, you know what? This is as good as it gets for me. No, we can't think that way. We can't think that, well, this is all I'm ever going to get because I don't really deserve any better than that. No, that is not true at all. We all deserve good things in life. And so I'm not attractive enough, like I mentioned before. I don't have the formal education. No, we have God's mind. We're all intelligent. And a lot of the people that I see that are really making an impact in the world had a rough life growing up, did not have any college education, and they are crushing it as far as success. And their main motive, their main goal, besides making good money, of course, is to help people, feed people, educate people. I'm seeing that over and over again, and it's just so empowering, and it makes you feel so great to see, okay, maybe they didn't even finish high school, but look what they're doing. Look at their successes, and look what they're doing as far as impacting other people's lives. And so that's what I love to see, is the ones that are really going after it, after that success, after good relationships, after a nicer home, an awesome car, all that. But their motive, their why, their bottom line is they want to impact other people's lives, and they're doing it, and it's just so fun to watch. I mean, it really is. People, again, like I mentioned before, Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins and people like that, and other people now that I'm seeing, Ed Merlet, just different ones, and it's like, yeah, it's all about really impacting the lives of others and feeling awesome in the meantime for it. So think about that. So, no matter how we appear on the outside, like I mentioned before, so just briefly touching on, there's that butterfly inside of us. That caterpillar has turned to goo. It's just a mess inside. And yet, everything in there, all the characteristics, the wings, the feelers, the legs, everything's in there. It just has to go through kind of a painful process to get to be that beautiful butterfly that's soaring higher and higher and higher. And so a lot of times we do too, but we're patient and we keep doing it. And we focus on that, not focus on, oh my gosh, look where I am. How am I ever going to get out of this? By focusing on where you want to go. And that is so, so important. So always think about that. Think about what makes me so special. Because sometimes when people have done, worked in a leadership guide and they've had an instructor for a workshop or something, and they need to write down what are their good qualities. Maybe they listed what they felt were their bad qualities, and I was like, what are good qualities? Have you ever seen people do that? And they would sit there and go, I don't think I have any. And they can't think of any. And yet, they have good hearts. They're smart. They can do so many things. But it's just getting that brain to go, hey, yes, I do have a lot of excellent qualifications. So think about that a lot. A lot of times we just don't recognize it. But you never want to diminish your talents or worthiness to continue to prove to someone they were right. Because no, they were wrong. They were totally wrong. And so whether you love or don't love who's in the mirror, you are God's masterpiece. Masterpiece. Do you know how much masterpieces cost? Like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you are God's masterpiece. I always think about it that his creation, his beautiful son or wonderful daughter, okay, he loves you, so believe it and say it out loud. Hey, God loves me. I'm his child, and that's all I need. That's all I need. So negative remarks, opinions, that's just somebody's opinion. That doesn't mean anything. So don't even think about those. A lot of thoughts have been coming to me again lately, and it's like I have to stop myself and go, nope, not going to think about that, and flip that thought to just the opposite. I was listening to a gentleman yesterday, and I didn't write it down. I think it was like, we think 67,000 thoughts a day. And I'm going, wow, really? We do? 67,000? I think that's what he said. And it's like, oh my gosh. Well, so how many of those are positive? They're good. How many of them are like, oh golly, I don't even want to go to work because I have to face the boss, just whatever the case may be. So, especially at first, you have to keep flipping thoughts constantly. No, I'm not going to feel that way. No, I'm going to fight with this person. I'm going to stand up and be confident, and I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to go in there with some ideas that I think would be good problem resolutions. Okay, so we have to think in that way and stop letting those words and those things and the news even push us down. Because right now I know the news, I don't even watch the news. I haven't watched the news for about 2 years. I keep up with things, but not the mainstream news, because what is it filling you with? Fear, anger, doubt, all of those things that we don't need. And the most successful people that are making the biggest impact on other people's lives as well as their families, they don't listen to the mainstream media news either. And so, think about that. Think about what you're listening to, what you're putting into your mind. And so, if somebody mocks you, like that friend I was mentioning, she mocked another couple gals and I about something, and I thought, that's the last straw. I've forgiven you so many times. Sure, I'm not going to hold anything against you. I just don't want to be around you anymore. And so, if it's repeating in your ear, behind your back, whatever the case may be, that you aren't worthy or there's something wrong with you, it's like, nope, that's not true. And you flip the thought immediately to how important you are, how wonderful you are, how much God loves you. So you're a warrior, a Wonder Woman or a Superman in your own right now. And so even if you may have gone down many times in life, I love to think about the Phoenix. I have pictures of the Phoenix. There's one in the opening segment of this program where it's an imaginary bird, but it has such a good story of being down, of being injured, of crashing and burning, and yet showing this Phoenix rising up. And so no matter what has happened to us, if we've lost limbs, I've seen people from wars that have been pretty well burned, literally, and yet rising again and standing strong. And we all have that ability to do that. So always think of that Phoenix and rise. A lot of times we reap crops from seeds that are planted in our lives. So many things have been planted in our lives, that it's been said that a baby in the womb, still in the womb, can actually sense, they can hear what's going on. Some people like to play beautiful music and talk to the baby in the womb. And then other babies get to hear screaming, fighting, all kinds of things like that. That even in the womb, that child is already picking up things, whether it's good or bad. And so, and from birth. And so we have to think, what are the seeds that have been planted in me all this time? What are they? And so, seeds produce unpleasant weeds if they're the wrong kind of seeds, right? And grow maybe something or was said or done, and that was a seed. It was planted. So we can go, nope, I'm kicking out that seed right away. And the more you do this, the more quickly you will be able to go, whoa, wait a second. No, I don't accept that seed. Because seeds are either positive or negative, and if you think that there's like 67,000 thoughts, those are seeds. Those are seeds planted in us. And so, is this a good seed? Do I want to take care of it and have it grow in me and make an impact? Or is this something that's like, nope, that seed's going to come up as a weed. It's going to be an ugly weed, and it's going to choke out the good things unless I boot it out immediately. So it's a matter of allowing that seed to be planted in the soil of our mind or booting it out. Okay, so always think about seeds, think about beauty, and think about weeds, and which do we want? So thoughts or feelings, anything like that. So it's very important that you determine whether or not you will permit that seed to take root and to become a self-sabotaging weed. If you sit down and really think about that, it's like, oh my gosh, that's really true. Is this a weed? Is this something that's trying to choke me out and take over the beauty? Or is this something like when parents tell their kids, oh, you can do it, you can do anything you want, you did a great job. You know, maybe they were playing little softball, little kids, you know, and they kind of blew the whole game. But, oh, you did a great job, you're working on it, I'm so proud of you. So again, what kind of seeds are those? So we don't want to dwell on anything any longer that's not going to keep us going forward, being successful, and being happy and contributing to the lives of everyone around us. So think about that. You know, we can water the real seeds, we water, we fertilize, okay? And so think about that too, watering those seeds and fertilizing them with good positive words, good positive thoughts in our head, sitting there thinking quietly and visualizing it growing up into something good and wonderful and positive that's going to manifest in your life. And so, again, stop, switch the thoughts, turn it around, go, oh, no, this is an ugly seed. I don't even want this in my life anymore. And so nourish those and help them grow, and that's very important. So, you know, every seed is going to plant good or bad, chaos or order, creation or destruction. And so we always want to do that and start really thinking of those seeds. Because, you know, as I walk around now, whether it's a store or whatever, and it seems like most people are looking down or looking out, and they seem like angry or frustrated or hurt, possibly. And I've noticed if I catch their eye contact, I will smile. I will give a little smile to that person, and they kind of sometimes look surprised, and then, you know, most of them will kind of do a little smile back. And I know that made an impact, that made that person feel better because they were looking pretty grumpy or sad or whatever. So I would say, let's all try to do that. Let's all try to smile at people when you catch their eye. If they don't smile back, that's okay. You still planted a good seed in their life. And maybe that was the only smile they've had in months. So think about that and how you can impact lives just from a smile, just a mere smile, or even a hello, how are you? Okay, so dwell on the positive thoughts and the seeds that are being planted that are good for you. So you think about a packet of flower seeds, and I know I've mentioned this before previously, a long time ago. Okay, so you see this pack of flower seeds, and it's like, oh my gosh, those are so gorgeous. I want those in my yard, in my home, whatever the case may be. And so you take those flower seeds and you open up the packet, and it's like, oh, what is this? And they're dried up and shriveled and not pretty at all. And so many times we feel dried up and shriveled and like, yeah, well, life's kind of treated me the same way. But I want to become those gorgeous flowers. I want to give beauty to other people. And flowers do give a lot of beauty to other people. So when you open that packet, what do you see initially? Just dried up, shriveled up seeds. They don't mean anything. They don't look very good. However, then they're planted in the ground. And a lot of times we feel like we've been planted in the ground. It's like, it's dark, it's lonely, I'm all alone, I'm, you know, like, and we feel very hurt. And so if a seed had a mind, I always like to think of it that way, if the seed had a little mind of its own, it would think, well, gee, I am so ugly, so hopeless. I mean, I've been buried down here, I don't have anybody to talk to, everything's very dismal and it hurts and it's lonely. And a lot of times we go through stages in our lives where we feel the same way. And then the rain comes down. And it's like, oh my gosh, now I'm getting watered, I'm getting soaked, whatever. And so a lot of times when things happen to us when we're down, you know, we feel like we're kind of getting soaked in the water. But the water is necessary to make us grow. And so we keep going. And then after a little bit of time, the seeds is grown enough, rooted, that it pops out of the ground, and it's like, oh, okay, I can kind of see around now. But then the sun's come down, and the sun can scorch it, and it's like, you know, I call that kind of like the trials in the fiery furnace of things that happen in our lives, but it keeps going, and it keeps growing. And then somebody will come along and fertilize it with love and give it good things, and it grows up into something beautiful. And it gives so much beauty and a delight to so many people. It did not start out that way, though. It started out as a little ugly, shriveled up seed that was buried in the ground. And you think of, like, my mom used to comment about the mighty oak tree started out as a little insignificant nut, okay? Well, that's kind of true. You think of rose bushes, and they're spiky and they can hurt you. And, if you grab them the wrong way, and yet they have so much beauty in them too. So I like to think of palm trees. A lot of times if you see like some of the storms we've been having, that really huge trees will be uprooted and they'll be over on their side. But normally a palm tree, excuse me, will bend, but then it goes back up and it doesn't break. And I like to think of us as being like palm trees. We may have to weather a lot of storms and we bend, but we don't break. We get up and we go forward, and we provide a lot of beauty for the people who sees us then. So think about that and what's beneath the surface. What am I going to do with it? What kind of fertilizer does it need? New friends, new start. A lot of time sitting, thinking, concentrating, praying. I'm doing that more and more and more, because you can really see the impact it has on your life when you do that. And so always care about those seeds and the labor of love that you're providing for them in yourself and others. Plant seeds in other people. It's so important to plant seeds in other people. Seeds of love, seeds of encouragement, seeds of maybe being a mentor or an educator, whatever the case may be. Planting seeds in someone's life because they need help, because they're a caregiver and they're just about ready to, go nuts and they need a break. Those are seeds you could plant in someone's life for good, for helping them, and say, okay, but I know you're really good at math, or you're really good at finances, so how about I come in so many hours a week, I will help you do some caregiving for your loved one, and in exchange, would you help me with my checkbook? Would you help me with an Excel spreadsheet and figure out what I'm doing? I mean, there's so many things that we can do. Sow seeds in other people's lives, not just your own. And we can do that every single day. And even ask God, hey, would you please bring someone across my path who needs some encouragement, some love, some care, whatever the case may be. And I guarantee you will start noticing people coming across your path and being able to plant good seeds in them and watch them grow, and watch them be nourished. It's really, really important. So depending on, again, family, career, finances, moral support or no moral support, may take a bit longer sometimes than we hope, because it takes work to transform our lives, to totally restructure our lives. A building's not going to be built overnight. Well, we aren't either. It takes work, but it's so worth it. And then you start expecting all the good things. You don't even think about those bad. You just expect it. Your whole image changes. And so your demeanor changes. And what used to maybe keep you down and sad, now it's like, no, you're confident. And it shows. And you will draw people to you that appreciate that and are like that themselves. And so, people treat us the way we treat ourselves most of the time. So think about that. You'll start glowing. You'll start walking with more confidence. You'll start being more comfortable initiating conversations with other people. And that's when you really feel your life changing. You start thinking and living that life even though it's not there yet. And I've been watching a lot on that and realizing just how true that really is. So always think about that and nourish your seeds. So, and the road you're walking down too, because, we're all walking down a road, and sometimes it's good to just sit very, very quietly, no phone, no TV, nothing. Just sit quietly and think of, okay, what road am I on? I'm on this road. Where's it taking me? Maybe not some really good places. And it's like, so if I back up, what kind of road can I establish? What kind of things do I want to experience? Experience is everything, go down that road. So think about what road you're going to take, and then you can build the steps for it. But I was thinking about that a lot, the road that we take. And it's like, oh my, that is so true. So again, just as a little brief summary on how long you allow others to affect your emotions. How do you speak to yourself? Okay? No more, hey, you dummy, you're a failure. Why did you do this? You're wonderful, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're God's child. You have so many gifts. You can help mediate fights. You can help balance bank accounts. You can bake the most awesome food, whatever it is. That's what you think. How you see yourself, okay? You see yourself as that package of flowers after the seeds. You see yourself having gone through that transition from the seeds buried to who you are. And you're awesome. Okay? How you allow yourself to be treated. This can be tough sometimes, but remember, you allow what happens to you. So it's like, nope, not going there anymore. What makes you feel confident and powerful? Sometimes, I've seen people tell lies just because it made them feel more confident and powerful. No, think about what you are, who you are inside. What makes you feel weak or ineffective, and if it's nobody's calling me, how others treat me. It's like, no. Sometimes you have to reach out and call other people, okay? And so think about that too. I've heard people say, well, so-and-so never calls me. And it's like, well, do you ever call them? Well, no. Okay. So also think about what you can do to reach out to other people. Consider how you will handle new situations that come up in a whole different way, in a whole confident new way, because you're thinking of ways to alleviate the situation or suggestions of how to change something. And then what other people think and their responses and how you're going to respond back. Because a lot of people are biting back and fighting and stuff like that. And it's like, you know what? I'm not lowering myself to that level. I've heard people say that. I've done that. It's like, no, they may be nasty, but I'm not lowering myself. I am keeping the high road. And boy, do you feel good. You feel so good when you keep the high road no matter what's going on. So I hope that helped today. I'll talk more about Miracle in My Mirror in the next program. I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, you can contact me at Rita@soaringhigher.rocks. Have an awesome day.